The book of Genesis ends by looking forward. The book of Exodus, by contrast, marks the new start in the story of God's promises by looking back, recalling the entry of Jacob's family into Egypt in verses 1 to 4 of the first chapter. A vital fact is then stressed. When Abraham's descendants entered Egypt, which was the greatest power in the ancient world, they were only 70 in number. This point is made in chapter 1, verse 5. However, from such small beginnings, God began to work. The following verses demonstrate God quickly began to fulfill his promises in the remarkable growth of the people of Israel. Soon their numbers are such that Egypt is not big enough to contain them. They need a land of their own. Later, this amazing reality will become even more apparent in chapter 12, verse 37. However, here we are simply told the basic fact, but in language which echoes God's promises in Genesis chapter 12, verse 2, 17, verse 6, 35, verse 11, and elsewhere. Perhaps even more remarkable is the fact that there is a more distant echo from verses 4, 6 and 7 back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 28. There God had commanded perfect man and woman to multiply and fill the earth. In Egypt, as their numbers grew, and grew still more, Israel experienced such blessing as was unheard of since the entrance of sin into the world. They're described as if they were enjoying the experience of a world without the effects of sin. Such blessings might have been expected to stir up the Israelites to look with anticipation for the further fulfillment of God's promises. Sadly, however, the attitude which Jacob and Joseph showed, as we have seen in Genesis 47:30 and 48:21 and 22, is absent. Not until circumstances force them to do the Israelites recapture the desire which marked their ancestors, and not till then do they rediscover their calling to be a blessing to the world. It's easy for Christians to enjoy the salvation blessings of God themselves and yet lose sight of their responsibility to bring that salvation blessing to those around them who know nothing of it. Sometimes God has to remove the experience of his blessing from Christians, from us, as he did with Israel in Egypt, before we are ready to meet our God-given responsibilities toward our neighbours and our world.